Alright everyone, how's it going? RJ here. Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be discussing why you should not pick up the new OnePlus Nord N20 5G. Now, I want to say this here before I go any further in the video. I've been getting comments lately. Some will just push on the video. They'll press pause immediately and leave a comment down below in the comment section about something that has nothing to do with the video because they didn't watch the video. Okay, and they'll give their opinion on something that I'm like, okay, what was that about? And I end up deleting the comment anyway. So, watch the video. It takes time to do all of this and everything, whatever, to have to, explain comments out and reply to comments about stuff that, has nothing to do with the video to begin with. So, be sure and check the video out and watch the video. That would be appreciated before you leave comments, because that way it'll help us both out. Okay, so I just came from watching Jay Williams' video of the new OnePlus Nord N20 5G, his unboxing and first impressions. Great video. If you haven't seen it yet, go over there at this video here and check it out. You can see the phone there, and he gave off the specs and his first impressions and everything. But I was, when I was watching it, I was thinking, why are these companies going backwards instead of forwards? Okay, and when I say that, I'm talking about the OnePlus Nord N10 5G that came out 2 years ago, back in 2020. And honestly, the N20 seems more of a downgrade than an upgrade. Looking at this phone right here and having this phone. Now, this phone costs $300 at release. It's a US unlocked version. There is different versions of this here. This is the one I bought from B&H Photo. And so it is the unlocked universal US version that works on every carrier. Okay. Now, I'm looking at the specs here. Okay. And honestly, you'd figure that a phone that came out 2 years after the N10, the N20 came out to replace this phone, but did it really? And I'm going to give you the specs of both phones, and you let me know what you think, and if you think it's really an upgrade, or, or what, it's kind of like Motorola, you know what I'm saying? So, starting off here, we got the processors, okay? So when you look at the processors, the OnePlus Nord N10 5G came out with the Snapdragon 690, which is a 5G chip. Now, the N20 has the Snapdragon 695. Now, I was thinking, why in the world did they put barely an upgraded processor in a phone that's two years newer? Why didn't they go like a 778 or something like that, or a newer 700 series instead of a 695? So the performance is going to probably be very similar between the 690 and 695. Also, when it comes to RAM and storage, they're both the same at 6 gigs of RAM, and the storage is 128 gigs, and both have an SD card slot. Okay, both phones have are Type-C. Both phones have a headphone jack, and all that kind of good stuff. But there are some differences, and we're going to get into where the N10 is going to be pulling away from the N20. So right now with the processors, that's kind of similar, 690, 695, the same RAM, the same storage. Now I want to go ahead and throw this out here right now. The version that he has, the only version available right now is the T-Mobile version. If they bring out a fully unlocked N20, it may be a game changer, and it may just completely void this video out. Then again, it may be the same specs. So we got to see what happens with OnePlus and what they do if they bring out an unlocked version of the N20 5G. Okay, so when it comes to the processor, the RAM, and the storage, about breaking even there. Okay, now when it comes to the displays, a little bit smaller on the N20, but by barely. Okay, the N10 has a 6.49 inch display, while the N20 has a 6.43, so not enough to even tell the difference. Both of them are 1080 by 2400 resolution displays. You have 406 pixels per inch on the N10 and 409 on the N20. Both of them are 20:9 aspect ratios. Now the two differences here now is the type of display, because on the N10 5G you got an IPS LCD display with 90 hertz. Okay, so you go 60 hertz or 90 hertz. Now with the N20 you are stuck at 60 hertz, but you get an AMOLED panel. So it's kind of a draw. Okay, AMOLED looks really good, but we like our 90 hertz. We like our 120 hertz. So that's going to basically come down to whatever your preference is, whether you like a 90 hertz and you can deal with an IPS LCD, which honestly is going to be just fine. I mean, looking at the screen on here, it looks great. But AMOLED versus IPS LCD, but 90 hertz versus 60 hertz on the N20. So kind of a draw there as well. Now as far as the build quality goes, I know this one here is made of plastic back, plastic frame, Gorilla Glass 3 on the front. I'm not really sure what the build is on the N20, so I can't really go with that. However, this is kind of where the OnePlus Nord N10, all these names, man, my goodness, why can't they just leave whatever? This is where the OnePlus Nord N10 5G starts walking away from the N20, and that's in the cameras. So both of them have 64 megapixel wide angle cameras, okay, and they both have 2 megapixel depth and macro sensors. However, the N10 adds an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, where you do not get an ultra wide camera on the N20, which is kind of crazy why they don't add that. At the price point that this here came out 2 years ago. Okay, so it has ultra wide camera. Also, the max video resolution you can record front and rear on the N20 is 1080p at 30 frames per second, while on the OnePlus Nord N10 5G you can record in 4K at 30 frames per second. You can record at 1080p at 30 and 60 frames per second. And the front camera, you can record at 1080p at 30 and 60 frames per second. So they really backed up on the cameras when it, as far as, now the sensors, I'm not really sure about how much better or worse or whatever the photo quality is going to be. But you can record in 4K here on the N10, 1080p max on the N20, 30 and 60 frames on the front and rear of the N10, and 1080p 30 in the front and rear max is all you can do when it comes to the cameras. Now when it comes to the speakers, the sound quality, okay, you got a bottom firing speaker here, the same way as you have on the N20. However, the N20 does not have stereo speakers, but the N10 has stereo speakers, and these are some really good stereo speakers. So why in the world would they back up by not putting stereo speakers in the N20? But 2 years ago, they put it on the N10 5G. And like I said, some pretty daggone good audio comes out of this phone, to be honest. So, yeah, another lead ahead there for a 2-year-old phone. Now, whenever you look here at the fingerprint scanners, the fingerprint scanner is on the rear of the N10 5G, and it has an optical under display fingerprint scanner on the N20, so whatever you like there in display on the back and the power button, whatever. Now for the battery, very similar, okay? You have a 4300 milliamp hour battery in the N10, and you got a 4500 milliamp hour battery in the N20, and both support fast charging. The N10 is 30 watts, and the N20 is 33 watts. So 3 watts is not going to be much of a difference at all. So when you look at all of that, yes, the biggest pluses, I guess you would say, for the N20 would be the AMOLED display, but you're going to give up the 90 hertz. So if you like AMOLED and 90 hertz, 60 hertz don't matter to you, then AMOLED is going to be the way you of course, you're going to lean that way. The 695 is an upgrade, okay, but not much of an upgrade. I got a feeling, okay? Now, this one came out with Android version 10, and it's currently running Android 11, and is currently on March 2022 security patch. So it is getting security patches, just, you know, not blazing fast like Google Pixel and all like that, but it is getting updates. Now, the N20 came out with, for some reason, this phone just came out in late April, and it shipped with Android 11. Why not Android 12? It makes no sense. It's probably going to get one OS upgrade from Android 11 to Android 12. This one here got one upgrade from 10 to 11, but it's still continuing to get security patches, which is more important than Android 12, because Android 12 ain't no good anyway, in my personal opinion. So neither phone is really future-proof as far as, you know, 2, 3, 4 years of updates. Now, I'm not sure if OnePlus is going to do something crazy with the newer phones. I don't know, but as of right now, it'll probably only get one software update, which will be from Android 11 to Android version 12. So you'll only be one ahead of the N10 5G. And this phone here has just been stellar. And you can probably buy this phone right now, probably for $200 or less. And you're going to get stereo speakers. You're going to get about the same battery life, the same performance, the same RAM, the same storage. You get an ultra-wide camera. You got 4K recording. You got 60 frames per second front and rear 1080p recording. A rear-mounted fingerprint scanner that honestly, when you press it, it comes right on. And I mean, it does just fine. The screen looks really good. You can't really see it here, of course, on this display. But the display it's nice. I mean, it's IPS LCD. The phone runs very smooth. That 90 hertz display is so fast and fluid. I mean, it just runs great. And also, one thing that when I was watching, you know, I don't take nothing away from Jay Williams' video, but I do want to mention this here. One thing that he said in his video when he was watching a video, that both of them, of course, have displays that are 1080p. However, he can't upscale to 4K. This one right here can upscale to 4K. Put in a 4K scenery video a minute ago, and I clicked on resolutions. It was at 1080. I go to 1440 and 2160. So this one here can upscale your videos to 4K if you want to. So for some reason, I don't know why. So in my opinion, OnePlus kind of blew it. You know, now, like I said at the beginning of the video, they may bring out a US unlocked version for all carriers that may have more RAM, may have more storage, may have a better processor. It could have better this, better that. I don't know. But right now, it's that they just have a T-Mobile version, and the retail price is right around that $280, $300 mark, which was the same price I paid for the N10 5G back in 2020. And you can probably get it for a really good price right now. So, you know, that's why I know it's a very lengthy video again. I do apologize for that. There's a lot of things to say. And, you know, when it comes to this kind of stuff, now, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I want, you know, to just be completely honest with y'all. I want y'all to make a good purchase and, you know, and spend your money. Because I'm telling you, money's tight. We know money's tight. And, you know, when you go out here and, oh, got the new N20 5G upgraded version from the N10, and when you get a home, and, you know, and then if you start looking, well, I wish I had stereo speakers. Well, the N10 had that. I wish I had 4K recording. Well, the N10 had that. You know, I wish I had 60 frames per second. Well, the N10 had that. You know, I wish I had, you know, all this stuff. Well, the N10 had that. But this one here don't. So you're thinking, I could have saved probably $100 by buying, you know, a fully unlocked N10 5G. Because, you know, and it's going to still perform very well. Battery life is really good. Performance is, I mean, it's got some stutters here and there. It ain't the most powerful phone in the world. The 690 processor is not bad. The 695 ain't going to be, probably going to be much better. I mean, you're just barely bumping up the, you know, the processor. But I'm just going by what I hear and by what I see. Now, you may be asking, are you going to pick up the N20 5G? No. I'm not. Now, I got a PayPal link down below. If you want to donate the money for me to buy it and compare them both, hey, feel free to drop $300 down in that PayPal account and I'll buy the N20. But if not, you won't see it on my channel unless they bring out a US unlocked version. And if it's the same spec as T-Mobile, then you still won't see it on my channel, because to me, it ain't worth the money. And I ain't wasting my money on something that's a downgrade. Just my personal opinion. So, you know, I know this was long. I do apologize for that. I hope you made it through the whole video. I know I probably lost 80% in the first 2-3 minutes. But that's all I got to say right now. I wouldn't recommend the N20 5G. Find an N10 5G. Make sure you buy the right one. Make sure it's the USA version that's compatible with Verizon. You know, AT&T. Well, AT&T is a gamble anymore. But T-Mobile as well. Back to Red Pocket, like I was saying before. You know, it'll work on Red Pocket. It works fine. Done tried it. But anyway, you know, there's like 3 or 4 different versions of the N10. Make sure you don't buy nothing but the USA version if you want to buy the N10 still. And so if you can still find them, you know, you never know anymore. But if this is helpful, informative in any way, hit the like button. Any questions you may have, leave it down below. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. You know, get that viewer base up. You know, let's just get these videos up. Let's get them climbing. Hit that bell. Also, be notified for when I release new videos. That would be appreciated. Y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.